Welcome to the 8672 podcast. It's Chris.
It's Wise. Peace.
Episode 18.
Yes, sir.
18. See. What's your name? How was your week?
It was tiring.
Yeah. Apologies too for the episode not dropping on Sunday. So we had some internet issues. Had to go get a new Wi-Fi adapter. My Wi-Fi adapter messed up, so freaking YouTube videos took. It was uploaded for 3 days and only got to 20%. And then I had to go get the adapter and then it uploaded. I was like, yo, this is crazy. So yeah, but we interrupt this episode to tell you to like and subscribe.
And comment too.
Like and subscribe, yo. We need that those algorithms, yo. We need to be put up a little bit higher. So not a little bit higher, a lot of bit higher.
Right.
So like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that. You know what I mean? We need all of that. And when y'all subscribe, the people who subscribe, make sure y'all hit the bell too.
Right, to get the
notifications. You know what I'm saying? So if you gonna get in, get all the way in. And check. Hold up.
Yeah, like, subscribe, hit the bell. And when you hit the bell, it'll come up and just put all notifications, and you'll see the thing around the bell like the bell is ringing.
Word.
And you'll get all the notifications.
All of that. So, you got anything you want to talk about? Yeah, chill.
Nah, it's just couple of things was the first, the dude, what's his name, Brown in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, the man that got killed in his car, in his driveway.
Mm-hmm. I'm not familiar.
Well, they let them cops off. They said it was justified, them killing them, but you can see that they altered the body cam, because when it's one cop that jumped off the back of the pickup, you started hearing shots fired, but the dude was in the car, and he just backed up and tried to get away from them, because they jumped off the pickups and was immediately shooting. But the body cam they took from the guy got off after a couple of the people started shooting, and you just see by the time the guy with the body cam that they took from, you just see the car backing up and trying to get away from them. So the angle his body cam making it seem like he was going toward the police, but he wasn't. He was just trying to cut across, and they aired his car out. But they came back this week and he had a warrant. He had a warrant. There's some other issues, you know what I mean, but they was coming to serve a warrant and search his house, and they saw him sitting in the driveway. They asked him to put his hands. He put his hands on the steering wheel, but as they was telling him to put his hands where they could see him, now he's sitting in the car. He never got out the car, nothing. His hands on the steering wheel, and all he did, I guess he moved his hand to back up because they started shooting, and he backed up and drove across his own yard to try and get to the street, because they was unloading. I mean, unloaded, not handguns neither. But you can look this up. But
you said North Carolina?
Yeah, Elizabeth City. They came back and said all the cops involved were justified. And actually, this case, most of the cops quit the next day. And whoever could retire, they retired the next day too.
What was their justification? You said
they just said they didn't give a reason as the justification. They just said that it was an ongoing case. They came to serve a warrant, and they were justified in killing him.
Did they say what the warrant was for?
Nah, I think it was for drugs and guns or whatever, but it wasn't no guns or nothing in the house. But when they killed him, they never went to the house. They never went in the house. His whole family was in the house. He was sitting in his driveway. When they pulled up, they blocked the driveway, told him to freeze, put his hands up, and as they was telling him that, you just heard shots. And like I said, they altered the body cam because the family saw they were showing them bits and pieces of the body cam, and they were saying they didn't want the full body cam video to get out because they didn't want all this publicity in this town in North Carolina. But you can look up the case. It ain't no case. I think his name was Andrew Brown or something like that. But they definitely let the cops off. Another thing that's kind of is definitely lighter than this situation is this one is pretty much is becoming comical now, but it's a case of sometimes you gotta let sleeping giants lie. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all seen it, but Steven Jackson, what's my man's name that do the show with him?
Matt Barnes.
Matt Barnes and Gilbert Arenas. They had Gilbert Arenas on there, and they ended up talking real slick and disrespectful about Kwame Brown. And Kwame Brown, he went all the way. He been going in on them. You see that it's all over social media. He been crushing these dudes, man. He actually spoke about the politics of the NBA, how he was the first pick, but when Jordan was the general manager in D.C., he didn't want to pick him. And he said that originally he was picked to be traded to the Bulls, but Jordan didn't want to pick him or trade him, so he left him there, and they didn't work. Like, you got to hear him explain it.
I saw what Shannon Sharp said, and was like, I didn't like listen to it all the way, because I saw it like pop up when I was at work, and I never went back to it. But it like basically the caption was just like Kwame Brown didn't need Jordan. He didn't need to be drafted to Jordan at his age. He wasn't ready for that. How Jordan treated him.
And that's what he said.
Yeah, and he was like, if he would have been drafted to any other team, we may not look at Kwame Brown the same way. Like, he was like, later in his career, he might have been able to handle that. He was like, but at 17 years old, straight out of high school, he wasn't ready for that.
And he said that
because that's when Jordan.
Jordan was later in his career. They was trying to get the team to go to the playoffs. Jordan didn't want him playing, and he said that the reason why he never spoke on it, he was like, because, and his analogy was, this is a direct quote from him. He was like, that's like somebody coming out and they got a singing career and they start talking about Beyonce. He was like, the Beehive will kill you for that, and you'll be killed in the industry. He was like, and nobody want to hear that Jordan was doing them bad. He was like, but the one thing I can ask the question of anybody that got sense, what company will hire someone, or he said, what company would manufacture a product and then crush the product before the product sells? He said, and that was the place that he was in, and the reason why.
So basically, it's like pimping.
Yeah, but it's crazy because like a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at something and they was talking about the NBA and how the NBA works, and it made me think about how me and you might look at a game, and the people were saying like one of the people was like, you come from high school where you're All-American. Mm-hmm. You might go to the McDonald's All-American game, right?
Yeah.
You go to college. You in college killing. You averaging about 20 points a game, you jump shot, but you playing in the system, right? Mm-hmm. They said when you get to the league, I might get drafted to the team you already on. You established, right? So it becomes, all right, Wise, check this out. You better not shoot the ball. Chris shoots the ball. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Chris and whoever else shoots the ball. Mm-hmm. Your job is, when we say swing the ball, we're gonna swing it to you. And the person it was so crazy because if anybody look at basketball, you know you've seen this before. They swing the ball around and a dude be wide open. And you wondering, yo, why he ain't shooting? And then somebody come running at him and he'll turn his back, but he looking to pass.
Yeah.
And the whole thing will be like, swing the ball to Chris, but we gotta swing it over here, and
so
then
everybody touch it.
Everybody touch the ball, but then get it back to Chris. And Chris shooting no matter what, and y'all better get in place to grab the rebound. And this is what he was saying. He was like, I guess he was talking about Doug Collins. He was like, in practice, he would be in practice, and he was like, yo, he would have me out there practicing with these dudes, and he was like, he would have dudes like Jihadi White and them, like beating them up in practice. Seriously, yo, he was naming dudes. He was these dudes would be. He said in practice he'll get a rebound, and their job was to like pound him on his arms, pound him in his body, and all kind of stuff. So he was like these dudes is talking about I was a bust, and he was like, Steven Jackson, me and you played on the team together in Charlotte. He was like, we could have went to the playoffs. You quit on the team. And he was like he started exposing Steven Jackson for all the dumb stuff he was doing. And then he just called. He was like, and I'm not even gonna talk about the light skinned woman that's on the show with you. You know what I mean? Becky with the good hair, that chick. You know what I mean? You all emotional. You know what I mean? He was like, you beat up Derek Fisher, who might be all about 6 feet, 6'1". You know what I mean? You're about 6'8", 6'9". You beat him up, and you mad because he over there, you know what I mean, banging out your wife. You know what I'm saying? You should have just left gas money for him to take your kids to practice.
Wow.
Yeah. He been going in for the last couple of days. He was like, in Gilbert Arenas, you're a little boy. He was like, you've never been in trouble and nothing. He said Gilbert Arenas said that he would do stuff in Arizona and the coach would make him run like 5 miles. So he was like, I looked at it like, yo, shit, this is just getting me in shape. I'm not never getting in trouble. This is what Kwame Brown was saying about Gilbert Arenas. Mm-hmm. He was like, every team I was on, he was like, when they wanted to trade me to Chicago and Jordan didn't want to do that, that was a better fit for me because they didn't have nobody that was going to shoot. He was like, think about all the teams I was on. I played with Gilbert, bitch ass. He's shooting the ball 25 times a game. He said he named another team he was on where it was one dude shooting 25, another dude getting 20. He was like, so where was I fitting in? He was like, then they sent me to the Lakers. Kobe shooting the ball 25, 30 times a game. I don't have a shot in hell. He was like, but Steven Jackson, you mad because I was the #1 pick? You know what I mean? He was like, you mad I'm a Geechee from South Carolina. He was like, and all y'all know, I put hands on you. He was like, Gilbert, you up there talking that tough shit. He was like, when we was in D.C., he was like, D.C. boys don't play, and y'all know that. He was like, one day, we at a club, and a dude put his arms around Gilbert and had him up against a wall like he was a chick. And me and my brother had to stop the dude because he was taking his chain off his neck. But he said today that him and Gilbert was able to talk about it. You know what I mean? He was like, but Steven Jackson, you fake blood. Oh, yeah, he going in on them dudes, man.
Yeah, that's like, you got them like former players and stuff that it's interesting because when they start, like you got Steven Jackson and Barnes on that podcast, like it get kind of messy because like when they start talking about former players and stuff like that, like I always pay attention to who can like pull, who gets their cards pulled. That's why I think like players like KG, I think like the stuff that they say about him is official because you never hear nobody like say nothing sideways about like KG. Everything about KG is consistent where it's just like, yo, like nah. Like
and Shaq too.
Yeah.
Shaq was on there and they talked about when he choked. He said one dude kept playing with him and he was like, yo, I'm older in the league. I'm just here to chill. And he was like, this is why I mess with Matt Barnes. He was like, because whatever he saw, he didn't tell. He was like, but I saw he was in the locker room and the the team had left out, and he said, I forgot who he said it was. I think it was
that he knocked out.
Nah, that was Big Country. This was a foreign player or something. He said, but the dude kept talking, so he said he got up and he told him, like, yo, stop. I'm older in the league. You know what I mean? I'm just finishing out my career or whatever. He said, but the dude kept talking. He said, so I put him in the feed. He said, and the dude was squirming. And when I realized he was knocked out, I just left him on the floor. And he said, tell him what you did, Matt. And Matt Barnes was like, I just grabbed the Gatorade and left. And he said, next thing you know, the coaches and trainers was like, what happened? He was like, I don't know. I ain't seen nothing. And Shaq was like, I don't know what happened to him, man. He was talking a minute ago.
That's crazy.
But when you hear about the league, and Kwame Brown was definitely, and he said, like, they're a fraternity, so they shouldn't be trying to
airing out stuff,
make jokes and air out stuff, because once they start doing that, people could air out a whole bunch of stuff that nobody really needs to know.
It's kind of like that with everything now, though.
Right.
Like, it's like that with like hip hop too, where it's like that's kind of why like your older artists have the mystique that they have too, because there's a lot of stuff that you didn't know. There wasn't social media and things like that. Like now with Instagram and things, like you feel like you living every day with certain artists. Like you see their families, you with them whenever they go to shows and stuff like that, even without you being there. So there's not really, you don't have as much, you don't have to imagine as much as you had to imagine back in the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you didn't run into an artist or they released like some behind the scenes footage or stuff, you didn't know. And that's why like stuff like Backstage was so dope, because you didn't get to see that. Like
them being on tour buses and things of that nature.
Like Jay and DMX battling, and then you got the Muslim cat jumping in the cypher at the same time. Like the scene when they had like the groupies in the bathroom and shit like that, and the cat that was in the crew like hitting off first and all that. Like you didn't get to see that. You was like, oh damn, like the stories that people be talking about is kind of true. You know what I'm saying? You got to see like a different side of everything. So that was cool. And then seeing the stuff that they do, like they regular people too. But you get it more now. So it's not like, I think that's what hurts people. No, not hurts. It helps an artist like Drake. I think like Drake, he understands that, and he keeps that mystique even in the time.
He don't put his stuff out there.
Yeah, like
everybody else put their own stuff out there. You
know what I'm saying? Like you don't really see much about him. Like he shares more now with like his son. Like ever since like Pusha put it out there. So like now he like shares more stuff, but like.
Well, I don't follow Drake. I'm not a fan of Drake.
No, I don't follow him either. But I follow like with Shade Room, and they always post stuff that he posts.
I don't know if I follow Shade Room either.
No, I follow Shade Room, but no. But like whenever he posts like Adonis and stuff like that, they post it.
No, I never seen it. Yeah. So what else you got?
What else I was doing? As you talking about podcast. Did you watch what Rory and Maul response?
Yeah. I wanted to get into that too.
What did you think about their response?
So what, you want to get into analytics about us while I ain't been here a couple shows?
What?
Because I told you I need to see the books.
Shut up.
Nah, you know what? See, that's why I always say, like, see, people, and it would be nice to get to this point where, you know what I'm saying, we make a mark in this podcasting and stuff like that, but and I believe it'll be different from us because nobody was a star. You know what I'm saying? But still, people just take a side without knowing all the facts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people was crushing Maul and Rory.
You think so?
Yeah, in the beginning, in the very when it first started.
started.
And then they did the show together, and then when Joe fired them live, everybody was killing Marlon, saying that they didn't do nothing, they shouldn't be doing that, they was just workers. Then you got DJ Academics, and I'm gonna say this.
He's a troll, though.
I'm gonna say this. Shout out to DJ Academics, because I used to watch the Complex show, right? The show they had on Complex.
Everyday Struggle.
Everyday Struggle.
Yeah.
And I did like the way him and Joe went back and forth, and him Star just didn't fit on the show. And then when they got the other cat, I forget his name, the show wasn't the same to me. But
I didn't watch that.
I never paid no attention to DJ Academics after that. Like you said, he a troll. You know what I'm saying? But his response to Rory and Maul getting fired added more fire to the BS that I started following him, because it was comical.
What did he say? I didn't see his response to it.
When they first got fired, and Joe made a statement before they responded, saying that what they wanted to see the books and all this crazy shit, right? He did about an hour rant on them. Millie Maul and Rory, yo, get the fuck out of here, da-da-da-da. But him and Rory had a legitimate beef, where Rory went to his crib and gave him a card or a letter, maybe threatening him. Rory went with a couple of people. He said that he showed the card on his ring. He was like, look, there's no postage on it. They came here, and if you go back to episode whatever, Joe asked him, did he go there? And he lied and said he didn't go. So he went on a rant about them. Y'all are just fucking workers. Y'all bums. Y'all don't do shit. He was like, that's like me at Complex. It was Joe's show. How I look saying, yeah, I contributed more to the show than y'all contributed to the podcast, but y'all fucking bums. Yo, it was so funny. But then their response, and everybody was killing them. Yo, y'all don't need to look at the books. Nah, y'all just workers. Y'all should just get the money, because everything, Joe is doing all the legwork. But it happened to be somebody text a show that I watched and was like, yo, y'all are wrong about this, because they just put the guy's last name. So they put it as Peter Rosenberg from, or whatever his name, Rosenberg from Hot 97. They was like, Rosenberg helped start Joe Budden's podcast. Rory got that to happen. Nobody wanted to hear it. So when Rory stated that the original podcast for Joe Budden, the dude Rosenberg got the studio and all of that, and Rory was paying. And Rory came on the 6th show. Everybody thought Rory came 20-something show and then Maul. But Rory was there first before Maul, and it was a girl, but they were still trying to figure out who should be the third person. Then they brought Maul in. But if you a percentage, you getting paid by percentage of what the podcast make, they right. And that's one thing I give Academics. That's why I'm shouting them out. Because he said, y'all still workers, but if Joe did that, Joe is dumb. Bottom line. Because all the money that's coming in is people wanting Joe, not them two. So for Joe to sign them to a percentage-based deal off the podcast, they right. They have the right to see the books.
Did you see Joe's response to their response?
No, I ain't.
Nah, he put up a IG
the
live.
apology?
No, I'm not talking about the apology. That was to he apologized to them on the podcast. He went on IG live and was talking after their response. The apology was before their response. So their response was, he was like, what they said, because I'll say this first before I get into what he said. I don't know what to believe. You never know who's telling the truth in these situations. So I don't ever really I just listen to the story. I can't really pick sides because who knows who's telling the truth and who's not. But he was like, they didn't have a profit sharing contract. What they had was they got a percentage of his net, but that's not profit sharing. Profits are gross.
Right.
So that's what he was saying. He was like, and this is what their lawyer signed. So like that is those are two different things.
But that's what they said.
No, they didn't. They said profit sharing, and they was like, so that means everything that's coming in, we're entitled to see that. And what his point was, profit versus a percentage of my net is not the same thing. And he said it's the net of what he made from the podcast. So like, that's not the same thing as profit sharing.
No, but that's what Rory said. If you look at Rory, what he said, he don't care. I ain't bringing water inside. What he said was, they're supposed to get 20% of whatever the podcast brings in. But what Joe started doing was mixing the deals, putting things into the podcast, and that's how the $400,000 mix-up happened, which they still was cool with. But they were saying, okay, cool. What is the podcast making? Because they got 20% off the podcast. And Joe got mad.
Yeah.
That's what Rory said.
Yeah, I know, but what he's saying is what the podcast makes is not net though. That's gross.
No, but
that's what he was explaining. The way I took it was like gross profit, because they kept using the word profit. And
right, that's after you pay everything.
No, it's not.
That's what Rory was saying.
He didn't say after you pay everything.
Rory was saying after every.
He was talking about the expenses. Yeah,
no, Rory
because they're behind the expenses. Because he wanted to see the expenses.
No, if you remember, Rory said that when they got the first deal from Cash App, was it? He said his first check, he told Joe, "Don't give me the check. Pay everybody else." And Joe got mad.
And Joe's response to that on his live was, he was like, that wasn't the beginning of that issue. And he was like, his justification behind getting mad for that, he's like, I did get mad for that. He was like, because why, after a year and a half of this being an issue, do y'all want to do this now? He's like, at this point, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm not paying somebody for doing work. So he's like, that's why he flipped, because he was like, this is not a new issue. This has been going on for a year and a half now. So now why do you want to forego your check? He's like, if that was the case, you should have been doing this from the time this has been an issue.
Because if we doing something as friends, and you telling me everything's on the up and up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Once it's a $400,000 mistake, because like they said, their money was good.
But that's what Joe said. That wasn't when
understanding.
That wasn't what he didn't do that right after that mistake, is what Joe said. That he said it was a year and a half later. But that's why I don't get into like taking sides.
See, the reason why I feel that them dudes ain't lying is because when it all happened, what I took from it was Joe got mad at them for not coming, right? I'm talking about right now. Whatever was going on behind the scenes was going on behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Joe told them, take a break. Everybody go to their separate corners. They all agreed that that's what was said.
Yeah.
But then Joe got mad when they did what he said to do.
Yeah, no,
you can't get mad at that.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not.
No, I understand what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying that's a different conversation from what we were just having.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm saying that to say, if you saying this, then that means you hiding a lot of stuff because you want to paint the picture that you just ain't do nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. Now, if you got all these deals going on, then why is it that you would even mix that money with the Joe Budden Podcast? The pull-up ain't have nothing to do with the podcast. The other show he had on Revolt had nothing to do with the podcast. He had different hosts on there.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Now, it could be that them people don't want to discuss their personal business dealings with Joe. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's messed up that it happened this way. But in the end, if you look at everything dealing with Joe, from Complex and everything he used to talk about when he was with them, as far as, yo, the content creators never get paid what they supposed to be paid, because the head person always take what they want and then sprinkle down or whatever, you know what I mean, things of that nature. Like they say, you ended up turning into be that person, because now you dealing with maybe multiple millions of dollars.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, like I said, I can't.
That's like me coming in and saying, okay, we doing a podcast, we start getting money.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you getting off Kakashan don't have nothing to do with the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start mixing money in from Kakashan over into the podcast, without saying, okay, boom, I need to do this. Okay, y'all got percentage sharing, but I got to pay for the production and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to use some of the Kakashan money, so it's that money, I got to get that back first. And then, all of that can be explained. But when you getting all these deals coming in, and you mixing and matching the monies, you know what I'm saying? Because it do look funny.
Yeah, no. If that's the case, that's a fact. What I'll say is, like I said, you never know who's telling all the truth. But what I will say is, what makes Rory and Maul more believable than Joe is, like, it seems like Joe is, like, he always leaves, like, a situation it's always a fire. Like,
right.
He never, like, transitions peacefully.
Right.
It's always a hell kind of
And on top of that, fine, you don't want them there on your podcast, right? Why would you be so mad? Because he was the first one to say this, too. If y'all start another podcast before the year's out, I'm suing the parents. Let him go.
No, that was crazy that he said that, and when Maul said what he said, I felt that too. I think that was Joe being petty, and I think that was Joe being petty because of what Maul said about Joe continuing the podcast with two different.
What Joe said is his podcast. He can do what he want to do, and he tried to paint the narrative.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I don't think Joe really meant that he would sue them for doing. I think he was saying that as like a troll tactic, or like, all right, in the emotions of me talking. But I don't think he really would have did that. And I think the reason he said that was because Maul said he had the expectation that if them three wasn't doing the podcast together, then there wouldn't be any more episodes. And to be honest, like, when he said that, I felt what Joe said in that situation, like, and this goes whether who told who not to show up or not. I don't think Maul should have. I understood where Maul was coming from, but I more so understood where Joe was coming from, where it's like, yo, Cass is eating off of this. Like, however long it was going to take us to work this out, like, we could not do podcasts for a month.
Yeah, but if you tell me don't come.
That's not what I'm talking about right now, though. That's what I'm saying. What I said, regardless of who told who not to come, what I'm saying is, with the expectation, Maul had the expectation that there shouldn't be any episodes until them three came back together. What I'm saying is, that's unrealistic. Because what I feel what Joe said is like, yo, there's people that work this podcast, they depend on this podcast for income.
I understand what you're saying, but if you running a podcast and you tell the co-host, do not come, that's on you.
But it's not. It is, and that's why Joe continued. That was the point.
No, he said that he went and got them because he didn't want to do it by himself, because this was stuff that he was saying.
You're proving my point is what I'm saying. It's on him. So he used resources to make sure that they continue to go because he needed to make that money.
Okay, but they would have still been coming and trying to work out the issues, and they both said matter of fact, all three of them said they was having conversations with him, but Joe was playing both sides of the fence and being on some bullshit. But he did say, to contradict himself, that he was more so trying to have more of a conversation with Maul than Rory.
Yeah, but I'm not disputing any of that, but that's not what I'm saying, though.
But if you tell me, if who knows what they agreed to?
Yeah, because that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
No, I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is this, to Maul's point, we don't know if Joe said we're not going to do it, just everybody take a break. Because he did say that they was all supposed to go on vacation. Everybody go on vacation, and then we'll come back and see where we at. Joe said that. But it didn't seem like Joe went on vacation.
No.
Them two, y'all don't come around no more, and I'm going to just go get two people to fill in, and I'm going to keep it moving. And then when Maul expressed his beef, Joe tried to put Maul and Rory against each other, like, yo, you taking his side over me. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, we trying to work all of this out. It's us three together.
No, I felt Rory and Maul on that.
And like, from the look of that, and that's why I said a lot of people just took a side because it looked like Maul was there before Rory, because Joe and Maul and like Three Letter Man, shout out to you, PSA Hip Hop. He originally was like, yo, if you think about it, Joe and Maul had the conversation, had more of a relationship, and Rory just was like a Johnny come lately. He was like, because if you paid attention to the show like I did, Joe would, and this is true, Joe would put his back to Rory and be really just talking to Maul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's because they lived together. They had a different relationship.
But Maul said, that happened, you know what I'm saying, a long time ago. He had been gone. And Joe, they didn't speak for years until, I guess, Brandon Jennings played with the Knicks. Yeah. That's when they rekindled their relationship or whatever, but Rory was already there.
Yeah, but he wasn't. And like over the course of Joe's life, Maul did come first.
Right.
So that's why Joe said
Maul was saying what he was saying. Like he felt he could be able to discuss it. And
right. You telling me it's none of my business.
Right. And I'm trying to explain to you, I'm not taking no side on no BS with Rory. It's the fact that, and he was trying to say that on the show. I came in after. So I'm thinking y'all got a relationship going on with the podcast. Y'all bring me in, and he said it when him and Rory was talking. I came in, and y'all thought I brought something to it. So, you know what I mean? It's all three of us. But for Joe to be flipping out the way he was flipping out, it became a point where it's like, yo, who am I talking to?
Yeah. No, I felt more on all of that. All I'm saying is, and this whole thing is, I don't take sides on none of that stuff because you never know who's telling the truth. But I think just looking at it from the standpoint of like, all right, I'm not choosing no sides. I think both sides had valid points. Joe's valid point, I thought, was what he talked about why he continued the podcast with other people. I thought that was a valid point. Taking that, not considering all of the things that led to Rory and Maul not being there. I also felt why Maul would feel like Joe shouldn't. So, like, in that same argument, I felt both sides. And then I also felt what Maul was saying, like, yo, you making this a personal thing where, like, this is, like, you making me choose a side. Like, I fuck with Rory on another level, and I fuck with you on a different level. Like, we got a different type of relationship than me and Rory got. Like, me and Rory was introduced from a podcast standpoint, and then we built a friendship off of that type deal. Whereas me and you, we probably it surpasses a friendship. Like we've lived together.
Like he said, he was doing things that he wasn't supposed to do, and yo, when you hear a dude say that I was giving you money, you know what I mean?
Or like he was like getting them. He said he was getting them out of situations. People that he knew was getting them out of situations that otherwise he wouldn't have been able to get out of.
So you know what I mean? And the reason why I say I blame Joe on doing what he was doing, and they said it when they spoke. they feel like Joe had already had his mind made up. He wanted people on salary opposed to the percentage, because then he could do whatever he wanted to do with the money, just give you X amount of dollars,
right,
and you keep it moving, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he could have did that with them out the gate, but once Rory was like, nah, I'm not doing that, like, people didn't know that Rory was paying for the podcast at first.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got all these people coming back like, yeah, you know what, I apologize because I didn't know. That's why you don't take a stance until you, like they say, it's three sides to the story and the truth. And when you naming people, you can't be lying on nobody like that, because, or you shouldn't. Let me say that, because that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, which is like you said, it's three sides of the story. So we heard two.
You actually heard three.
Huh? Well, I'm just saying.
You heard Joe's first.
Yeah.
And then you heard Rory and Maul, which is pretty much a little bit different, but the same.
Yeah, but and then the third is the truth. You got your side, one side, that side, and then the truth. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't choose sides, because you never know what's the unfiltered truth. But like I said,
and
over
see,
the argument,
funny, because what makes it even look worse is when they all was talking, like Parks and them wasn't gassing Joe that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when these.
But you can tell the energy is different when like in the mall, even when their response was like Parks.
Yeah.
Parks, like, cause their energy towards Parks on that episode when they came back was different too.
Yeah, cause they were saying like, you know, they really didn't want to have to do it like that. But then when Joe fired them, and then they all playing around, you know what I mean, in the background, like, yeah, you, like, come on, man, why you doing that? You making a situation worse than what it is by gassing something.
Mm-hmm.
And you know me, and anybody that watches this podcast that know me, no, I can't wait to throw fire, you know what I'm saying, throw gasoline on a fire, you know what I mean, but in some situations you can't, you know what I mean, because, or you shouldn't, you know what I mean, because things can go all the way left.
But that's what, what you saw in the situation, like I said, Maul, I think, summed it up. He didn't say it exactly like this, but this is what I think he meant. It's just like, yo, when money get involved, you start really seeing, like, how people act. So it's like, and then people say, like, money doesn't change you, it just further reveals who you are.
Right.
So if with Maul and Rory, if that's the absolute truth, all they're seeing is like, and this is why I tell people all the time, like I don't really put a lot of clout into like your favorite rapper or your favorite athlete or something they say on TV or on social media, because that's not always the truth. They're gonna say whatever it is to further their brand and make more bread. Like you said, Joe be on talking about the creator this and creator that, and what the higher ups do to get over. They do that because it's from a business standpoint, it's a wise business move.
Right.
From a Joe standpoint, yeah, it's wise for him to put people on salary or have people under him that want to take salary, because he'll get a bigger slice of the pie. Whereas Maul and Rory are being what Joe said all creators should do. They should value and understand their worth and want to get paid appropriately, right? Not be cut out of the pie. And he talked that shit amongst people who was really about that and talked that with him. And then if that's what they say, what they're saying is true, when they came to him with that, it upset him as a businessman, which makes him no different than your high record label execs and your podcast companies.
And
like,
you know what's funny? Thinking about just listening to you explain that, I'm thinking about. I don't remember the numbers of the podcast, but it was one episode where Maul really didn't say too much, but when he spoke, he made a lot of sense on certain things. And besides Jay-Z, Maul would pretty much go in on anybody, right? Mm-hmm. But it was an episode where Maul definitely asked Joe, but they laughed it off. He was like, yo, to me, you changing, like,
He said that after the Rock Nation brunch.
Yeah, he was like, but I think it was before that too. He was like, yo, you changing, you trying.
Yeah,
matter of fact, it was before the Rock Nation brunch, and then at the Rock Nation brunch, they said he was changing and he was trying to do things that normally he wouldn't do.
They started calling it industry.
Right. You know what I mean? And then one thing that I heard after the fact that I didn't pay attention to the podcast on, where they said it could have came from when they was at the brunch and Joe asked Jay-Z why he did what he did with Pump It Up, and they said Jay-Z turned to him like, so
what? Yeah.
And they laughed. Rory and Maul laughed, and
took
Joe felt away.
Yeah. He brought that shit up on the podcast though.
I said I don't remember that.
He's like, y'all laughed y'all's ass off. He brought that shit up again when they just did the episode together, talking about this situation.
So
he was like,
it's personal.
So what? He's like, and when I think about this situation, I think, so what? Yeah.
But see, what make Joe look bad in this situation, and I ain't talking about the Olivia Dope or whatever her name is. I'm not getting into that because I don't know nothing about that. But what makes Joe look bad is the fact of pretty much his character. This is his character with everything. Relationships, all kind of shit. Like whatever, like you said, whatever Joe get his hands on, some kind of way that shit gonna explode and be all bad.
Yeah.
All bad. You know what I mean? You got the Wu-Tang situation where he didn't have to say nothing, but he went on the radio talking about meth and kept that going to where they blacked his eye. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man.
But what he did, then he had the situation with Gilly.
Yeah, because he was worrying about them when Gilly was telling him, you over there working. We own ours. You know what I mean? You need to mind your business. And like somebody was saying, like, Joe wanted that. Joe wanted that bad, to be able to own his own rights, because everybody else with their podcast own their shit. They might be working with a company, but they own this shit. Nori, Gilly.
I thought Joe owned his too.
He owns that Joe Budden TV thing, but they said everything else he's going for deals. That's where the 20% came in, and he started intermingling the deals because they said originally he didn't have Spotify. Because just think about this, if what they're saying is true, they said they never went after YouTube. That would be in there too.
Yeah.
If you talking about a percentage, just
they said they was
percentage of the YouTube.
Yeah, Maul was talking about that. Rory was talking about that. He was like, let's just say, Joe Budden created the YouTube page. He was like, but the revenue that goes to that page is largely from the podcast.
So they could get a percentage of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What they're saying,
Joe was definitely, I consider Joe a pioneer with this whole YouTube.
With social media, period.
Yeah, because him
he used to do that shit with the Erie.
That's what I'm saying. That's where he started at.
Yeah.
Him and Erie just did everyday life in the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they saying that they don't care nothing about that. That part they understand. Joe did that. All they want is the podcast. But when you start intermingling your money, like now we got to figure out. Okay, let's just say you made $100,000 gross from the podcast, the pull up, and everything you got going on, right? The mistake could have been made that 20% of the income that they supposed to get was from all of that. So they could have been helping him.
Yeah, he probably have lost.
Huh?
He might have lost.
No, he would have won.
No, I'm saying lost money.
He would have gained money.
How?
Because if they took pull-up money, what they said...
That's what I'm saying. He would have lost, because if they would have taken 20% of everything, he would have lost money.
But that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's his excuse. But they could be helping him to gain more funds because by you pooling all that money, you shouldn't be pooling that money, number one.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you go and look at the books, your accountant should be able to say, this is pull-up revenue, this is...
You know they're able to do that. He just didn't show it to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? If that's true, if that's the story. Like, with, they said...
And the email could be poor accountant.
I don't think that was their accountant. It's just like they said, that's not accountant, like getting the Excel spreadsheet and getting like snipping it and putting it in the email. That's not accounting. So like, nah, I felt him on that. Like, and actually that seemed like it was true because Joe confirmed that too. But he was like, their contract doesn't say they get access to accounting, so no. He said that in his response.
Yeah. You
know,
so
like that part.
When he did it on IG.
IG Live, yeah. It was like a 10-minute video.
But that's when the people started saying, Joe, you sounding crazy. He was like, that's when he hung up real quick.
He was like, it's really not that complicated. Joe be cracking me up with that nigga talking in that voice. Like, when he used to be on Love and Hip Hop, like, and the girls be yelling at him, he's like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
You're so
Joe is crazy. He's
but he tells
crazy.
You that he is.
Yeah, he crazy.
He tell you that he is though.
But I remember when him and what's his name was going back and forth. Man, what's his name? Nah.
Actually, Maul said that about Consequence too. Yeah.
But he had a fire album too. The rapper cat from Jersey. No. They went to Homeboy crib looking for Joe and ended up punching the kid in the face in front of his people. Oh man, Ransom.
I didn't know about that.
Him and Ransom had live beef, man, and they that was for YouTube. I mean, they was going to people's houses for real. Like, just imagine somebody knocking on your door looking for one of your people. Like, yo, where one of the DVAs do. DVD dude. And you like, I don't know, nah, we don't hear nothing. You trying to close the door. And dude just put his foot in the door like, nah, where you at? Yo, I don't know where. Bow! Where you hold that and tell him when yo, man, what you doing? They all up in his house. Dude tell him come outside, they showing guns and all kinds. Joe was in a whole bunch of bullshit, man. That was for, like, this social media shit. Then he was
Joe might be the podcast Kanye.
Joe is the pioneer of the bullshit.
He's the pioneer of social media.
Yeah.
He was definitely the first artist that gave you like the inside view of his life. Like with just like a straight camcorder, just like he was the original selfie, like the original Instagram story. He'd be like this, like,
she's finally cooking breakfast.
Yeah, like,
I don't know what's going on. She's cooking breakfast.
They'll be having a conversation in the bed, and he just turned the camera on.
Yeah.
And just be like we're discussing this. Like, yeah. And that's like early 2000s. Like, people were like, yo, this is crazy. Like, he really do this. Like, and now it's crazy if an artist don't do that. Yeah.
Gilly got to admit he took that from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, everybody did. Everybody do that now.
That was getting, Joe records wasn't getting played, but
that was getting mad views. Because Tahiri was the baddest chick in the game, one of them at the time. And this cat would be showing, like, all right, like, yeah, she's headed to work. I'm a stay-at-home boyfriend.
Look at her, she's getting dressed, you see that ass.
Yeah.
And you like, yo, this dude showing his girl and everything, like, yo.
Yep. Then it was regular. It looked mad regular crib and everything.
He was actually one of the first dudes in the industry that put it on blast, like, I really like you said, the way he talked, I really like girls, I like girls. Oh. And you like, oh, this shit really going down.
Yeah.
Like, all you gotta do is be in that industry, cause it's baby moms. The chick Sin Santana.
Yeah. Mhm.
She was
Yeah, messing with Erica Mena.
Erica Mena, who fuck with Safari.
Yeah. Nah, yeah, Joe's funny, man. But
Joe is definitely funny. I like Joe.
I like Joe too. One thing I will say about him though, as messy as that cat is, like, and I say messy because it always, like I said, it always is in flames. His bounce back be crazy every time. Like,
he's a hard worker.
He
but
definitely
he's
is.
Bugged out.
He's a hard worker, but I think he also resourceful too, cause the joint with Ice and the other dude, that shit is dope too. And I don't even know who the heck is. Yeah.
I ain't watching after World.
I did. Like I was watching it, and they had some dope combos too.
See, the thing about them, like 3-Letter Man. Once again, he said it. They don't have no ties to the industry.
Right.
So, like me and you, we can sit here and give our opinion. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody gonna be calling us like, yo, son, like, yo, really? Like, yo, alright, well, you ain't getting in the next show. Like,
well, actually, I can't say I know for sure they don't have any ties. I don't know where they from.
No, they his regular people. Like, he would talk about Ish and them playing basketball and playing spades. Because he talked about Ish.
The Jada Cats that be playing in that court you put up.
No, he talked about Ish. If I'm not mistaken, I think he called Ish. Or he called either one of them, or he called another dude, but they all be together when the dude won the Mega Million. It was a dude that they didn't want to play cards with no more, but he ended up winning a lot of money in the Mega Million or some shit, and they couldn't get in touch with him. They had betted the dude, like, yo, man, nobody want to play cards with this dude. Like, he don't know how to play this, that, and third. The dude ended up winning. And he called one of them on a live show, like, yo, when the last time you spoke to Wise? Yo, I don't know, what happened? Yeah, you ain't want to play cards with him no more, you deaded him, and he ended up, he hit the lottery. And he was like, no, he didn't. He's like, he was like, go by his mother's house to see if he there. He hit the lottery. And the dude called back and was like, yo, nah, he ain't answering the phone or nothing. He was like, look at you, you had a partner. Like, Ish is one of the dudes that he said he go to the park with his pops, Joe's pops, all of them, play cards and all that together. Like, those is his friends on some different times.
Yeah, they be having some alright conversations.
I ain't watch it though, cause
they the ones that brought Kevin Samuels up there.
Oh, word?
Yeah, but nah, it's. I hope Rory and Maul have do a podcast though.
Yeah, cause the way they did it was smooth.
Yeah.
I like the setting.
Yeah, I did too.
You know what I mean? I was like, yo, it looked better than being in the living room and Maul being on that high bar stool.
That shit don't even look comfortable, especially for 3 hours. But Maul, I ain't gonna front. I like Maul, but he lost me that one time when he was talking about he was painting his nails and stuff.
I ain't see that.
Yeah.
I'm glad I ain't see that.
Yeah, he
like everybody was coming at him like, how is he Big's brother? Like he ain't Big's brother. Big like, yo, come on, man, y'all going all the way in on this dude over Joe Budden?
Nah, I like Maul though, but I was just like, I couldn't get with that, but yeah, I like Maul, but I used to be.
Said he was hiding laundry detergent.
I used to be laughing, cause sometimes I did feel that way too, when like Joe would be like, this nigga always want to be too cool. Yeah.
Maul would just sit there and I'd be like, when I first
like, come on, man, you don't want to get involved in none of this.
Yeah.
No, man, he just whatever.
Yeah. I used to be like, why is Maul on the show?
Yeah.
Cause Rory would talk, but then you could tell like Rory would be the one that. And actually, this too, on the sidebar, Joe should never be disrespectful to Rory as far as I'm concerned. Rory got up and walked off Drink Champs over Joe. You remember that? They was in there shitting on Joe Budden Podcast. And Nori and them was sitting there cracking. It was Nori. Who else, man? It
Joe
was
on the
show? No. Rory, Rory happened to be in the town they was in. Well, I forget whether it was Miami itself or they was somewhere, but they brought Rory in. Like, yo, come out of podcast or whatever. And they started shitting on Joe. It was Nori. I don't think EFN said nothing, but it was somebody, whoever the guest was. They just started going in on Joe. And Rory was like, nah, man, this is what y'all brought me in for? And he was like, nah. You know how Nori, nah, have a drink. You know what I mean? We just joking and all that. And he was like, yo, I got a plane to catch. He was like, no, we know you said you ain't gonna be here that long. And they kept going in on Joe, and Rory straight took the mic off and walked out. And they was like, damn, man, yo, he's a loyal cat. Well, he walked off Drink Champs, man.
The Charlemagne thing with him is not due to Joe, but like Charlemagne was getting at him when they was talking. I think Charlemagne was on the show. This was a while ago though.
Yeah. On the pull-up, he said he had an issue with Rory, but they supposedly deaded it on the pull-up. But what the hell is Charlemagne in the middle of now?
In the middle of?
Yeah.
I thought
somebody
he graduated.
No. The Hassan Campbell thing.
What?
Hassan Campbell was like, yo, when he just had an issue in Bronx River, and he said he pulled out a fake gun, you know what I mean? But he was like, yeah, y'all all mad that I went to the projects I grew up in? He was like, what you want me to be? Nipsey? With my brain splattered on the ground and kicked in the face after you shot me? Or you want me to be Charlemagne running around the cars after I got whooped out? I was like, yo, dudes don't leave people alone, man. They don't. Yeah, but Charlemagne, I don't know. He getting to the bag, too.
Oh, yeah.
Charlemagne gets to the bag.
He's the hottest thing out here, right? I mean, like,
and he's getting people bags, too.
Yeah.
We need to link up with C the God. Hey, C the God. Peace, man. What up?
Yeah, man, I sent you a few DMs.
You know what I mean?
Hit me back.
Whoa.
I ain't talking, like, what's the name? A DM is a direct message.
Okay,
I'm talking about business.
Don't say you jumping in the man's DM.
I did jump in his DM.
What?
What does that mean? That means you sent him a direct
It goes
message.
down in the DM.
Yeah, it does. Business.
No. All right, well, listen. Just say you direct message them
I said
for
that.
business. Don't say I jumped in your DM.
What does DM stand for?
I don't care what it stands for.
It stands for direct message.
When you say, yo, she or he jumped in my DM, what's not talking about what they're saying? You just said I jumped in your DM.
I said I sent him a DM.
No,
I did not say I jumped in his DM. That's what you said.
All right, well, guess what?
I said I sent you a couple DMs. That's exactly what I said.
He direct messaged you for business.
I DM'd you a few times.
Hey, listen, he direct messaged you.
Yeah.
Just say that, man. Please.
I say DM.
Oh my goodness.
I say DM. Like I said, I sent you a few DMs.
Down in the DM.
Yep. Word up. I'm trying to get to the bag too, so hit me back. Like, comment, subscribe.
That's a fact, though. See the God hit us back.
But what else? Doge dip.
Yes.
What do you think about it?
I'm gonna let it go all the way down, and I'll buy back in. I took profit, man, and I bought other stuff. You know
I'm holding.
Nah, you can hold as much as you want, but I took profit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you sold some.
Yeah. But now is I'm just gonna let it ride out, and I'll buy back in. You know what I mean? At a lower cost.
Yeah, I'm holding my position with my because I like where I'm at, but on these dips, I'm definitely buying the dips to increase my my portfolio. But yeah, I'm holding because I think with Musk putting out that comment that he made about Bitcoin and the energy, the unclean energy that he uses to make the coin, and then he talked about researching coins that use less than 1%. There's only 2 coins that fall into that category, Doge being one of them. And with Coinbase making an announcement that they're going to be listing Doge on their platform within 6 to 8 weeks, you're probably going to...
Well, who?
Coinbase.
Oh, yeah.
They said 6 to 8 weeks. They announced that last week. And then what you have in the SpaceX announcement where he's saying they taking Doge to, was it Mars?
Yeah.
So like once they don't have a date for that yet. And then he also teased on Instagram Doge being used for Tesla purchases. So like there's a lot of speculation about the investment that they made with Bitcoin. I think it was 1.5 billion they bought of Bitcoin. There's speculation that they've also secretly done the same thing with Doge recently. And if they make that announcement, you could see Doge take a similar jump of what like Bitcoin made. Like Bitcoin right now is what it was. Today it is what it was before Tesla made that announcement. It's 15K down from where it was.
Mm-hmm.
It jumped up to 55K. It's under 40K right now. Like it's like I think it might be mid 30s. But I think with my advice like with cryptocurrency, and like I said, we said before, we ain't financial advisors. I think it's something where it's a long-term thing. So like if you look into, and don't get me wrong, there are people who short-term made a lot of money or whatever, but I'm looking at it as like a long-term thing, like years from now type deal. And what I'm trying to get out of it is a situation where it's like, all right, I can make myself debt-free. Not even necessarily like, oh, I ain't got to work no more type deal. It don't need to get to that point for me. I just want to be debt-free. So, but I think it's promising in the next month or two with some of the things that could be coming down the pipeline, and especially if Amazon jump on board, because it's rumored that Bezos wants Doge to be accepted for Amazon purchases and things like that. Like all of that stuff has the potential to have it skyrocket. So we shall see. But if you watching this and you got Doge, I advise you to hold. And if you can, when these dips go down,
buy more.
Purchase more. You could also, and I learned this from watching your boy Chris Sane, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole the market purchase where you can set a limit. I knew you could do that on Vanguard. I know it. I don't know why I didn't think you could do the same thing with cryptocurrency on Robinhood.
Mm-hmm.
But like, so you don't have to watch it all day long, because I know we all busy. You know what I'm saying? You got kids, you got jobs. You can't afford to like have the joint sitting on your screen watching the dips and things like that. Like today it went down to 21 cents.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you could set a price that you're willing to pay and be like, yo, if it go down, if it hits this price, you want to buy however much, right? So like that's a way of you just being like, all right, I know if it go down to this number,
right,
I'm gonna get more.
And that's how you take profit too.
Yeah.
The limits.
Right. You can set it like, oh, if it gets to this, sell at this many shares.
Right.
So.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing. When it got up, you know what I'm saying, and I don't take my money out. I reinvested it in other things and stuff like that. Like you got lumber, you know, and what I started doing too is dividend stocks, where I'm getting paid off of how many shares of certain stocks that I own. You know what I mean? So you know, you're just playing around. You playing with money, like somebody said, and like I was saying about Nas too. You can't never say how many millions somebody has in stock, but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, that stock market is money that is, when you pull it out, that's when people know how much you make. When you pull out some of it. As long as you leave it in there, you could be a multi-millionaire, and that money, ain't nobody counting that. Forbes ain't looking at that.
I wouldn't say. I don't know if they count that or not, but
they
I know
can count.
They can, because you have to file taxes on that.
No, you have to file taxes on it if you pull it out.
No, you get a tax. You get a tax.
Yeah, you
form.
get a.
Yeah, so that means the government's aware of it.
Yeah, but it's how much is sitting in there, stuff like that. But
that's what I'm saying. If you say somebody's a multi-millionaire,
Forbes, if you don't report it, Forbes ain't gonna report it.
But what I'm saying is you don't have to report that. You're getting a federal document. So it's aware of it. Like I don't know what Forbes reports on.
50 and Nas both said this. Forbes, they don't know all their money. So therefore, when they reporting things, they're reporting on what you're telling the public that you have.
I don't know what Forbes reports on. I know that if somebody's looking into your income, they would have a way of knowing what you have in stock because it's
well,
federally
I know
reported.
both of them said straight up and down that you can look at the Forbes list and think that's accurate for them, but they don't report all that money.
Yeah.
Because they said, and Nas said it straight up on Jink Champs, he's not doing it because he don't want anybody in his business.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, it's like real life Monopoly.
No, that's a fact. You just if you're not pulling no money out, you moving it from Boardwalk to Park Place to Louisiana Avenue. Whatever you think is the stock at the time that is gonna blow. And you know, like I said, I look at Chris saying every day, every night, and I take tips from him as far as how many high volatility stocks that I have. You know what I mean? What to cut down on. Like I listened to him the other day, and it's funny because I got a dividend from AT&T, and he was like, they selling, you know what I mean? Like I said, once I got personal things going on that I gotta, you know what I mean, that's taking up a lot of my attention, so I'm really listening to what he do and his suggestions and stuff like that. But you know, he's on point and he gives you different things to read, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, so you can read it, go up on it, and he actually has a one-on-one class that he will help you because that options part of the game, that's a totally different game. You ever looked into that?
No.
When you playing with the options like that, the limit sales is one thing, but the call and put options.
Yeah, I don't do that.
No, but that's how people make money.
Yeah.
And that shit right there, I tried to listen to him one day, and I went in there to put a call for the next morning, right? Mm-hmm. And it was like you put it was a put option on a call, some crazy shit, where you knew the stock was going, and it happened. Mm-hmm. But I was so confused that I was like, I ain't fucking with this shit, because I don't know what I'm going to do. But he has a class that for a fee that he'll walk you through the whole shit personally, mm-hmm. and then you help it out. But the stock he was talking about, he was like, the stock is going to jump. He was like, we got to pick a time. He was like, but stock market opens at 9:30. Mm-hmm. Between 9:30 and 10:15, just pay attention to the stock because the stock goes up. So he was like, put a put option on it raising. Sure enough, the shit jumped about $10.
Yeah, so it's like
and you made a profit. You know what I mean? He made a profit.
That's day trading though. Like I can't, like day trading is like, for me, I don't have the time to do that. That's why I don't like.
No, you can put it in right now.
No, I understand that, but you have to watch it.
No, you put what you doing is you saying like off of his recommendation. If you watch him, I watch him every day, like I said. Yeah. So he'll tell you what stock. Put a call in. He'll either give you a timeline, meaning at this date, this is when the stock is going to go up. Or this stock been doing this been the thing that it does for the last 30 days. when the market opens,
Mhm.
because overnight trading goes on whether we see it or not.
Right.
So in the morning, between the time it opened to a half hour to 45 minutes later, the stock gonna jump and then it's gonna come back down. Put your option in tonight, which you could do. So when it opens, that's in there already. So when it jumps, it clicks in already, right? And it cuts it off. So now you made the profit. You know what I mean? But he describes it, and he has a whole class on that.
Yeah.
But I ain't had the time to do that. But I tried that shit, and I was like so fucking confused. And he'll tell you like how to put a stop loss in.
Yeah.
So around this time or this date, if it goes down to this percentage, it'll cut off where you ain't losing no money. But like his whole premise is you never losing no money until you pull out.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's day trading. I used to work with a dude that did day trading, and he did day trading while work. I don't know how he did that during that work, but he was like I remember one day he made a few grand, and the next day he was in the hole. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
because he probably do if he ever.
No, he do all of those like stop and puts in.
Right, but you can do that at night. That's why he's doing it. It cuts off automatically. You tell them when you put it in. Now I know this part of it because I kept playing with it, but I was just confused as to how much money did I need to have and stuff like that in there. But you say, okay, I want to put a put option where between 9:30 a.m. and say 10:30. Whenever that shit go up, it cuts it off. Right? So you ain't got to worry about nothing. You already put it in. So now your day for that stock is that. You know what I mean? Now you got people like me that I got my day, so all I do is hop in and hop out. You know what I mean? And if I see something that it dips too low, and I'll be like, all right, well, I want to buy more of that. You know what I mean? Like AT&T, I sold the other day. You know what I'm saying? And I bought I already had Cleveland Cliffs, got some iron, and I bought some lumber. Because lumber right now is on fire.
Yeah, with all of the home improvement.
Not yet, but it's raising the prices of the houses by 40,000. You know what I mean? Because it's too much. And them chips that's going in the
well, like the price is going up because the demand is so high.
Right.
It's like when people do all these damn projects because everybody's home.
But like the chips for the cars, that technology, like I was telling you, my man that owned the dealership, he was like, he got so many, he's back ordered on so many 2020 cars because they can't move them because they don't have the chips.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's exciting though. I'll just be like, I feel like the older I've gotten, the more I have a what's the word I'm looking for? Like I used to feel like when I was younger, I felt like 5 years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years was a long time. I feel like the older I got, the more I realized like that joint goes in like the blink of an eye. So it's like when you talk about like investments and stuff like that, it's and you like, all right, well, maybe this takes 5, 10 years for me to really get the fruits of this, right? That really don't seem that long. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you got like kids and you start thinking about it from the standpoint of like, all right, well, best case scenario, if this makes enough money for me to support their education, if they needed me to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, is 10 years really that long? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then 10 years
go by quick.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like think about it. Like it's 2021 right now. Like I have vivid memories of 2011. You know what I'm saying? And like if I would have done things differently in 2010, 2011, like on the investment side, when I was like I don't want to put money on, like I don't want to buy stock and things like that. That seems stupid to me, but it don't seem stupid to say $150 for a pair of sneakers or $200 for some boots or something like that. Like, and that's a depreciating asset. You know what I'm saying?
The only thing that I regret about stocks is I remember when hearing about how Bill Gates and them started, how they all became millionaires. And I always said that if I had the opportunity to do it, I would be in on it.
What?
Stock. Just getting a stock and riding it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got two regrets. One was Bitcoin, because I worked with people that was in on Bitcoin, and I was like, yo, I'm not doing that shit. I ain't got time for that. Nah, I'm not doing it. And when my man pulled out, I mean, before it was booming, and he paid his daughter's college off, we literally in the firehouse, and he was like, somebody was like, yo, I think Bitcoin going up. And he was like, yeah, it went up. He was like, I'm going to let it go till lunchtime. He was like, but then I'm pulling out, and I'm writing a check to my daughter's school, and I ain't got to worry about that school no more. And he did that, and I was like, okay. And I didn't want to jump in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That and Tesla. Because I talked about Tesla for fucking 4 months and didn't hop in on Tesla. And now looking at it now, like, keep coming down. Just keep coming down a little bit more, and I'm hopping in. But
yeah, that's it. But I'm chilling.
Like Apple going through all these fucking lawsuits. I can't wait for it to be over. Because they're going to boom. And when they come with their car, it's going to be booming too.
Yeah,
but like I said before,
version of the smart car.
You just got to figure out, once they let, and this is one thing that you have to pay attention to every day. When the company that owns the chip that's in these damn phones is going to be in the car.
Yeah, you said that, yeah.
Apple don't own the rights to that company. So when they release this stock publicly, I just hope it ain't massively over expensive. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because like Coinbase, when Coinbase first came out, that shit was like $400 a share, and it's been dropping ever since. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, that chip is something to watch for, because Apple, they've been trying to get the rights and the patent on it, but the company just will not sell them that.
Yeah, I think, like, from an investment standpoint, like, I like crypto just because Bitcoin is my biggest regret. Like, if I would have took $20 back in 2010, like, I have a multi-million dollars, even with Bitcoin being hit for what it's being hit for right now.
Right.
Like, but I just didn't understand the concept.
But see, the hit on that, you gotta look at it. The hit on Bitcoin right now, you have no reason to pull out right now, because you know it's gonna blow up. Only thing about Bitcoin that's messed up is the fact that it's only a certain amount of coins, and they're not making no more.
Yeah.
They're not making no more of them coins.
They're not making no more, and that's why the price is so high.
Right.
And that's the thing. That's why I think Doge is gonna be the next Bitcoin, if not bigger, because Doge does not have a hard cap on production. And I think that was the thinking behind it, whereas like, but that also makes it harder to reach the dollar too,
right.
Because when you don't have when there isn't a limited number of supply, you'll always be able to meet the demand. So
but see, with Doge, like you said, you don't be watching.
What?
This is what I know about Doge. This is why
I watch
take profit. No, you watching it itself, but I watch the money channels where they talk about Doge, and you notice how, and Chris Sane talks about this too. Certain things they play with, like a stock, they'll play with a stock because they don't want what happened with GameStop to happen ever again. Because people like me and you are considered laymen in their terms as far as stock. So now once we start doing this, Wall Street hates the fact that we get a TD account, we get a Robinhood or whatever account, and we able to go on Reddit or whatever and listen to Elon Musk on Twitter and things of that nature. So what they do is, like they said, like when you hear about hedge funds, a stock could be, like right now the market is up and down, and then you got the leveling out process where it trades sideways, where it ain't going up, it ain't going down, right? And that's because if I own a hedge fund, you own a hedge fund, right? All we doing is playing with the money like this. So the laymen, they can't get in there. They can't get in on that. So to keep the stock afloat, you'll borrow, say 100 shares or 100,000 shares from me, right? Boom, I give you the 100,000. You'll make your profit getting my 100,000 back, right? Now we just trading back and forth all these hedge funds companies, like with Doge. When Doge started rising, right? They predicted everything that was going on MSNBC, the money market, and Fox. And Fox is funny. Like once again, like Donald Trump, I find jokes and everything, and you could tell when people are mad when they gonna fuck around, and because the dude on Fox was like, Elon Musk is going on Saturday Night Live to push Dogecoin. One of y'all gonna go broke. He's like, everybody's laughing now, but somebody's gonna go broke because some people are playing with money that they need. And that's true. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He was like, so I advise you, before Saturday Night Live come on, if that's money that you playing with, take the profit, because it's gonna take a deep dive. And what he does is, and the shit is unbelievable. I don't know why people go on the show. He'd be like, yeah, next up, after the break, we're gonna have Chris to talk about Kakashan. He'd be like, you come back from break, hey, we got Chris. So how'd you start Kakashan? Oh, Dogecoin is dropping. Chris, we can't talk to you. We on live TV. And cut your interview off. And yo, I swear, I watched it with GameStop, because they was literally pissed that you had with GameStop, it was a multi-billionaire that got on before my man that owned the Dallas basketball team. What's his name? Mark Cuban. Before him, it was a multi-billionaire that got on, and they was like, so what do you think about this GameStop frenzy? And he was like, the little man won. He was like, why? I don't understand why everybody's so upset. Wall Street been doing this for years. So people like me been winning through Wall Street, you know what I mean? Not saying that we get insider trading, but let's be real. We know what stocks to put our money on, and the money blows up. We take profit. We pad our pockets. The little man won. They didn't want to hear him. Yeah. Cuban got on, said the same thing. The little man won. That's to the little man. If they in Reddit, whatever chat they was in, because that's how it happened. Yeah. It started in a chat where the dude said he owned the most shares of GameStop. I'm selling in the morning. So I advise you to sell no later than 10 o'clock, 12 to the latest. And all of them people started selling, and Robinhood couldn't sell. They couldn't cover the amount of sales. But people went out, paid off their student loans, bought houses, everything, and they were so pissed at that shit. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, like, that kind of stuff, if you gotta tape it and watch it later, watch those shows where you'll see that, and when they start discussing Like
I watch
Dogecoins and stuff like that?
I watch stuff like that via YouTube. Like I watch a crypto dedicated. I got 2 crypto dedicated channels. But what I say about like I said about crypto, like anything that they're saying right now about it, like for the most part, like I said, I look at it as a long-term investment. So like for me, I'm trying to bank as many shares as possible to where like I don't think like the wins that I get right now are not going to be anything in comparison to the wins that I could get 5-6 years from now. Because like I think of like things like Apple Pay, like who was like in 2011 paying, you know what I'm saying, doing things like that, like having your debit card stored in your phone was unheard of. You know what I'm saying? So a cryptocurrency in 10 years from now maybe are 1 or 2 based like as far as like how we pay for things, and that's how I look at it. It's like, yo, if Doge gets to $1, like I don't want to cash out what it would be at $1 if in 2031 it'll be 50 grand. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like I said, I'm trying to store as many shares as possible. So we're like, all right, well maybe if it gets to $1, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna take this out, but not everything. So
Right.
you know what I mean? So like that's how like I'll play with it in that way. But like I just look at it from the standpoint of like long term for me.
I'm playing with it from the standpoint of expanding my portfolio to, like, one thing that Chris Sane said, dividend stocks are definitely the way to go because you're getting paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got your quarterly dividends and you got your monthly dividend stocks that, depending on the shares, you making that money a month.
Right.
Now
it's like cash back on a credit card.
Right. So if you figure like AT&T was a monthly, no, that was a quarterly stock. Cleveland Cliffs is a monthly stock. So those stocks, they really don't go too high, and if they do drop, they don't drop too low. So you're able to always buy more shares, and the more shares you get, the more monthly money you get, to where the more shares you get in that monthly dividend stock is how you can pay your bills. You know what I mean? And that's the object of being in the stocks. Yes, you want to be rich and things of that nature, but if you could get paid off stocks that you have, where you know monthly, when I get paid, it's like getting a check.
Yeah.
It's like getting a check. It's like going to work, but you're working with a stock. So monthly, this company is going to give me some money. This company is going to give me money where I can pay my bills for the month. I'm straight. Next month, same thing. You know what I mean? So, you know, I definitely look at people like that. And, you know, it's like I said, it for me, I don't have too much to do during the day. So reading and stuff like that, reading up on stocks to see what stocks is doing. And one thing that's big with stocks is to learn what the CEO of a company is doing, why they leaving the company, why the stock want to split, and things of that nature. You know what I mean? Because there's a couple of stocks out here, and healthcare is big. Healthcare is big. Like
I just want to know why. Like it really annoys me, like with stock and stuff like that, where people don't be wanting to have that conversation, like with each other. Like it'd be like, all right, like you could be in a room with people that you know everything else about, but they won't tell you about stock, or that they invest in stock, on what their thoughts are and things like that. I just found that weird.
You know why? I told you a couple.
I know why, but I still think that's weird.
Yeah, but a lot of people, like I told you a couple of episodes ago, a lot of people don't want to discuss finance because they don't want, not just you per se, they don't want nobody in their pocket.
But they do discuss finance though.
As far as what?
Like the same people that won't discuss stock or talk to you about how much they pay in a mortgage, how much this and that trip costs and things like that. That's all finance.
But on a lower scale.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Nah, not really.
Your paying your mortgage, like I told you, is a souped up way of saying you pay your rent. Okay. So my mortgage costs this. That trip costs that. Okay.
Yeah, but with a mortgage, if you tell me how much your mortgage is, I can guesstimate the estimated worth of your house. And if I'm guesstimating the estimated worth of your house, that's telling me that you were 9 times out of 10, whatever your house is worth is about 80 to 85% of what you were approved for. So that tells me what your financial portfolio looks like.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
But
you're discussing finance.
But you're talking about, I understand what you're saying as far as that, but that's from the aspect of what I have on paper as far as my job, what I might have in the bank. But now, like I said, you take people like Nas and these people that are multi-millionaires, they're not discussing that with you because you're in their pocket.
No, I'm not talking about people that you don't know. I'm talking about
no, I understand what you're saying.
Like family. Like you'll have people that are like family members that are in your family that benefit from stock, but will never talk to anybody else. That doesn't make sense.
I'll give you a reason. It might not make sense to me or you, but it makes sense to them because, okay, I work, I make X amount of dollars. If you want to say from you looking at what kind of house somebody got, okay, they make X amount of dollars off their job. You know what I'm saying? Fine. That's all somebody wants you to know. They don't want to know what the limit on their credit card and their wallet is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to know things of that nature. Like, I'll give you a prime example. My motorcycle club, right? In a group chat, one day, randomly.
You told us a bloody joint, and then, yeah.
Huh?
When they were talking about it was a bloody day and all that.
Yeah, randomly, just random.
Yeah.
Now, I done been around these people, we've been around each other for years.
Right.
Some of them I worked with, some of them I grew up from 7th, 6th grade, all this shit.
Right.
Right? This shit come up, dude posted, because he went on a trip. Just randomly, went on a trip. Dude posted from a stock that I had no clue about, but they started talking about the stock, right? He took a contract, motherfucker took, I think $4,000 or $5,000, went on a trip with his wife. You know what I'm saying? Then you start seeing like I was talking to somebody, and it was like, man, it seemed like you know about this shit. So I was like, what? They was like, yo, you do stocks all the time? So I was like, you know, I dibble dabble. I don't know too much. What? Oh, no. So what you think about this? I was like, you do stocks? They were like, yeah, I've been playing with it, but, yo, you be watching. Yo, what you know about stop loss and all that shit? And I was like, yo, and I had to put them on the Chris Sim. You know
that's what I'm saying.
People really don't want you. That's what I say.
But what I'm saying, I'm not saying when I say talk about have a conversation about stock, I'm not talking about telling people the ins and outs because you have a certain group that you will disclose things like that to. But I'm saying like people will be up on good info and won't share that good info because they don't want to talk. They just don't want to share it. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to share it. Like if you cool with somebody, if you cool with somebody, that's your family member, and you got love for that person. If you see benefit in this, like we always talk about multiple streams of income. If you have a way where your money is working for you and you don't have to do nothing but put it in the right place, why wouldn't you educate people that you quote unquote say you love? That doesn't make sense.
All I can boil it down to is a lot of people don't want people in their pocket.
But that's not people in your pocket. If I tell you that this is a good investment, you don't know what I got in that.
Yeah, but if you know, how can I say this?
Like just because I tell you that something is good,
we'll have a discussion off camera because I fuck around and say something.
What?
No, it deals with me.
You don't gotta share like
right. No. What I'm saying is certain things that people sit back and watch. How are you able to do certain things? You know what I mean? But somebody's always watching the next person's pocket, and nobody don't
Yeah, but they don't have to know your pocket by you saying, how could you know my pocket by me telling you that, yo, like, are you in the stock? No. Alright, if I recommend you get in the stock, like, but if you do, this would be a good investment right here.
Okay, so you, first of all, and this is just my opinion, if I tell you about a stock, right, like, me and you a little different, because I don't have no problem telling you what stock I think is good or whatever. But most people look at it like this. If I tell you what stock to go buy, right, you'll be able, whether you know about it when I tell you to get in on it, sooner or later you're going to be able to judge how much I have in this stock for me be able to do certain things, like you said. If you're able to look at the price of the house or my mortgage, you're able to add all of that up, right? You add that up, cool. So you pretty much now have the money that I'm making off me going to work. Because stock ain't playing a role in that part of my living. But now different things that I may have, you'll be looking like, his mortgage is this. So he pretty much make around, or she make around this amount of money per year.
No, what I'm saying is, that's a scenario I threw out, right? Like, if you're smart, you're not going to get a mortgage I'm not going to say if you're smart. I would say if you're somebody who wants to be more, not living at the edge of your means.
Right.
You wouldn't get a mortgage that's 80 to 85% of what you're approved for, because you want to give yourself a cushion to where if things change. You know what I'm saying? So I just gave that 85, and if I worded it wrong, that's my apology. But I'm not saying that that's what you should do, and that's always that way. But I just threw those figures out. But my point is saying that you don't know what's going on in my pocket is because you only know what I want you to know. Like, you making that assumption off of that, right? But that doesn't tell you exactly what I'm doing. Like, my car, like you talked about when you was delivering for Poland Spring, the car that was in some of them rich people's driveways and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I think they had a regular house with that. They can still have that same money. They don't necessarily have to have that big house, right? So you would be making a whole bunch of assumptions like, yeah, this person is an average person, but they may not be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's my point. Me telling, or you telling, or anybody telling somebody about, like, yo, this is a good investment, that doesn't necessarily, you wouldn't necessarily be able to judge what I'm making. It depends on the financial decisions that I make, which would give you information on, like, oh, he might got some bread, like, he taking trips, you know what I'm saying, like, or he got this whip and things like that. But if you somebody that's like, I don't need that, like, that's not making me more money, you know what I'm saying, and you just chilling, nobody would ever know. You would just be somebody that's
no,
just
that's
like,
a fact. You're right about that.
You would just be somebody that's like, yo, this is dope.
On a whole bunch of
money. You know what I'm saying? And you could just be like, oh, forget it, like, I'm just gonna keep growing this. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it, where it's like, all right, well, I just, me personally, I get what you're saying, but I don't really understand that, because it's like, you don't necessarily have to be showing anything.
No, you don't have to show it, but if, like I said, if I give you a stock tip, and you look at that stock, depending on how many shares you buy in the stock, will tell you of what you're getting.
Yeah, that's if you knew how many shares I had.
No, I'm saying you, period. You will start speculating. You know what I'm saying? Or not just you. A person, the average person tells another person, yo, boom, boom, boom. It don't mean that I don't love you if I don't give you a stock tip. But
no,
if the person that don't do that, they're saying to themselves, boom, if he's able to buy, say, 10 shares of this stuff, and he's getting fair dividend stock. If he got 10 shares of this stock, he might be getting X amount of dollars off this dividend stock, right? So boom, he's just jumping in. Me telling you this is a good stock means that either I've been in it for a minute or I have a lot of shares. Whether I show you what I got or not.
But what's a lot of shares?
What you mean? You got some people that feel like to start out 150 shares of a stock is a great starting spot.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's perception is my point. So your perception of what a lot of shares is may not be my perception of what a lot of shares is.
No, I'm saying to start.
But what I'm
at 150.
But what I'm saying is it's no like written like, yo, this is a lot of shares. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because and it depends on the stock too. Like how that distribution of that stock is going. Like the top end, where do you fall percentage wise with everybody who has shares?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, it's just based on perception, and I don't think somebody telling you that it's a good stock necessarily means they have a lot of shares, whatever that number is to you. That just means like for instance, somebody telling you Bitcoin is a good stock. That don't necessarily mean that they got 150 shares at $50,000 a share. You know what I'm saying? Like that they got in early. They could have a partial share. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that partial be. May not even be like a full percent. You know what I'm saying?
If you got, I'm telling you right now, if you don't have at least a full share of Bitcoin, it ain't worth it.
Right, but what I'm telling you is even that person knows that Bitcoin is a good stock, though.
Yeah, but you would have had to been in already, or you would have had to have the money to jump in that.
Right, but none of that has anything to do with you telling somebody it's a good stock.
No, I'm saying you're correct, but most people look at it like that. What? People look at it like a motherfucker will be able to judge or have a perception of how much money I may be making off this stock if I tell them that this is a good stock. So now it'll be a person just watching my pocket. And right. A lot of
people watch your pocket anyway. I mean,
no, that's a fact. But it's like different watching my pocket and not really knowing.
But you don't really know about
what I mean by not really knowing, like, put it like this. If we didn't have this discussion on here that either one of us dealt with any kind of stock,
mm-hmm.
the only perception anybody would have would be how much money either one of us make off our career. Right?
And how would they know that?
What do you mean?
There's no way for them to know that unless you tell them.
Well, in my case, mine is public.
It's public with the range is not.
No, it's public.
So you can look up your name and your salary.
And you'll be able to tell how much I made for the last year.
So we can go to Google and type your name in, and
if you go, you could type in whatever, however they gonna put it up there. You'll be able to look. This shit goes in the paper.
No, I'm saying the fireman's salary. Anybody type in. You type in their name, where they work at, in a public job. That's public information. Yeah, no, it's public information with the salary ranges. It's public information. That person what they made for that year. I didn't know that. I thought that was illegal. That's why. No, that ain't illegal. It's a public. That's how people get caught up with child support and all that shit. You don't. That's a corporate. No. Listen to what I'm saying. I could go in there and say this is what I made, right? Like, you got people, I've been through child support, mm-hmm. where you go in there and you be like, yo, I want to check stuff or whatever that don't have no overtime on it, right? But you fuck around and you made X amount of dollars in overtime, you in the paper. Your name, he ranks number 1 in the fire department for salary for X years. That is public information. But the number. Yes. Yeah, I didn't know that. I would. The exact number. I never seen that before.
Exact number.
That's weird. I thought that
And you know how many people you be like this? Like, God damn, I'm glad my shit ain't in there. But your motherfucker type it up. You keep going. Okay, boom, boom, Chris. Da, 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 da. And, okay, last year he made bang.
Yeah, well, I can't speak to that because I'm not a fireman, but I know in my
police too.
Yeah, I've never seen that for police. I've seen that they give you a range.
No, you'll get a range as to what the salaries are for that job.
Yeah.
But if you type in a motherfucking name on any one of them jobs, it'll tell you what they made for the year. It's public information.
Yeah, I've never seen that. But what I'll say is because I don't know, I'll say anything other than a public service. You can't type in my name and get my salary.
Yeah, you probably can.
Ain't no problem. You can't do that. It's against, like I said, I thought that was against the law.
No.
Like, you're not typing in on Google Chris Killian and my salary come up from my job. That doesn't happen. This is also why, like in the workplace, they tell you not to you're not supposed to discuss salary in the workplace because it's not public information. That's considered NPI in my world.
I know police and fire is public information what you make.
Yeah, not for us. So like my point with that is like you wouldn't be able to just look and tell what I make.
Like I told you, I had on my daughter's softball team, dude was like, yeah, it gotta be hard for you. You know what I'm saying? Cause y'all don't firefighters don't make no money. You make X amount of dollars. And when I told him what I made, the motherfucker told me I made way more than him. And I was like, he was like, are you serious? No. He was going off of what the fire department made in his time.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, I did tell him. But if he look up my name and type in what, he would have had to know where I work at. Like, you know where I work at. Mm-hmm. You type up anybody's name that you know on the job, it'll tell you what they made.
Yeah, I'm just saying like...
And that shit is in the local paper.
Yeah, I gotta see that. That's weird. That's weird. Because they don't even...
Son, I'm telling you something that's real.
I hear you. I'm deferring to you, but I'm just saying that's weird.
You got dudes that was going through child support and before they even got there, the listing came out and you just had dudes in the firehouse like this, looking at police and fire like... And if you knew, like, yo, Chris is about to go to court for child support, oh, he fucked. All that overtime and that shit in the paper, you fucked. You fucked.
That's weird, yo.
That shit real.
That is weird.
That shit is real.
I wonder what's the...
I guess because we taxpayers, I guess because we get our salary over taxpayers' dollars. I don't know, but that shit is some real shit.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Listen, if I had your internet right now, I would show you. That shit.
Hold up.
Pull up Google.
I'm gonna pull up now. Yeah, that's crazy. I wouldn't be comfortable with that. Because I don't even, like... He's looking up. I don't know what he's looking up. He's on my phone right now. What's that say? Oh.
Yeah, you can talk so the sound thing.
What's the name? Nah, because I don't want to move on. What are you talking about this? I just wasn't aware of that.
This shit crazy.
What?
A whole bunch of shit coming up that don't need to be coming up.
That's weird, yo. I never.
That shit real.
since we're on the subject of money, forget that, whatever, I'll defer to you on that. If money wasn't an issue, right? So like, money was inconsequential. Like you'd be able to do whatever you want to do, right? What would you do for the rest of your life? Like what's up? Huh?
I'll probably I like boats, so I'll probably
Be on the water?
Be on the water somewhere a couple of times a year, probably till I made it all the way around the world.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I would definitely travel the world. Definitely travel the world. Shoot. I don't even think I could even name everything I want to do. I just want to do everything. It's just so much, man. The world's so damn big. You think it's crazy because like we in Delaware now. You think like our country is big, but that is so small when it compares to the world. And just seeing everything. I want to see so much, man. Like we were talking about this earlier. It was like me and Julia was talking about like getting in the habit of not taking trips for exclusively pleasure, but taking trips for like the learning experience, where it's like you take the kids places to learn like history from the standpoint of like firsthand. Like it would be like, all right, we go to this country and actually be in the midst of this country and go to their historic sites and their museums and stuff like that and learn their culture. You know what I'm saying? Whereas it's like, yo, you're not just reading it in a history textbook, where it's like, yo, you be able to be like, yo, I went to this country and I did this. Like, you know what I mean? That's dope to me. That's stuff that I would do if money wasn't an issue. Like, that's hard. Like, to be able to be like, yo, I've been to the pyramids. You know what I'm saying? I went to Egypt. I went to the pyramids. Like, I've seen that. I touched that. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's dope to me. Like I feel like that's stuff you can't even put a price tag on. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yo, like, cause you look at that stuff in textbooks, it like, going back to what I was saying about like 90s artists, it gives it that mystique because it's stuff that it almost feels like untouchable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because money is consequential in those things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta be able to afford to fly halfway across the world. You know what I'm saying? And be able to afford to stay there for an amount of time to make that a worthwhile journey type deal. But that's the type of stuff that I'll be into. And like, shit, you could have, I feel like an ongoing history class just in travel.
Definitely.
Like, that would be dope. Like, I never was like
I'm gonna find out tomorrow.
I want to see that. That's nuts. That's nuts, man. I feel like that's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous when you going for child support. Let me see something. Because there's a way to pull that shit up. Because I seen my name in the shit. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, damn. Because that shit, they put it in the paper and all that shit.
Yeah, that's scary. Yo, I was thinking about this earlier, right? I was like, really, this ain't nothing like crazy serious. But I had to go to the bathroom so bad earlier today, right? It was, I had to pee though. So I went in, and you know, like, you hold your pee, like, you had to pee for like so long. Maybe you like on a drive and you can't stop for a bathroom or whatever like that. You get home and you pee and it feels so good, right? And it got me to thinking, what do you think is a better feeling? Like, that finally getting able to pee after you've been having to hold it so long, or getting that good poop? What's the better feeling to you?
I don't know, but both of them was good.
I think, for me, it's a poop.
Now, this ain't us.
What?
This ain't us, but you see what it says. Who earns how much, and Winston-Salem. right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Name. See how much he made.
That's crazy, yo. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's that city manager.
He's a public worker.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking that's not fireman. Let me see. Go ahead and view 1,000 more rows.
Hold on. It's gonna show you. I'm telling you, this shit is real.
That's crazy.
Public officials and shit like that, you get all of that.
But yeah, no, public officials I get.
Son, we get paid. We are public service.
Right, but
that's why we can't strike nothing.
That's not a public official, though.
Son, listen to what I'm telling you. This shit shows you your name and how much you make.
Cause like we can look up like the president's salary and.
Here you go, right here.
City of Memphis. Okay.
Fire private.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm trying to tell you, man, this shit is real.
Yeah, that's nuts. But nah, I think
Here go another one. City salaries, Rhino Towns, wherever the fuck is, library. Look at her salary.
Yeah.
Police officer. Now there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
And look at the salary.
I guess, like I said, I told you, I defer to you because I don't know. I just said that's crazy. That's crazy.
This is real. Yo, I'm telling you, the first time I seen my name, I was like this. Yo. Because motherfuckers thought it was a joke. Because it was like they left this shit on the table. Everybody's shit. You know what I mean?
Nah, I can't get with that. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nah.
Alright, we're going to close this one out. Yo, like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell. Smash the like button. Word up. Run them numbers up. We need them, that algorithm. We need to be pushed up. Alright, so make sure y'all subscribe. Smash the like button, comment, all of that. Share it. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't following the IG page, follow the IG page. We're going to start posting more reels so y'all can share them doing too. And that's about it. So, 8672 Podcast is Chris.
It's Wise. Peace.
And we signing out. We'll see y'all next week.